Hi, boys and girls. Today we are going to continue talking about where we put commas in addresses. Let's review. An address is where somebody lives or where a building is located or a business. It typically has a person's name, the street address, the city, and the state or the country. It may also have a zip code, which is the numbers after the state, and that is in the United States. You use commas and addresses differently in sentences than on envelopes. Yesterday you practiced working with sentences with addresses in it. Today we're going to switch to doing addresses on envelopes. But first, when you use commas in a sentence, they go after each part of the address. So for example, Mark Samuels, comma, 423 Palm Avenue, comma, Miami, comma, Florida. Mark Samuels is the person getting the letter. He lives on the street 423 Palm Avenue. His city is Miami, and the state is Florida. So you put a comma in between each part of the address. When you put an address on a letter, the only place you use a comma is to separate the city from the state or the country. So if it's an address in the United States, it would be after the city, before the state. If it's outside the United States, it may just be the city and the country. So here's an example. I'm writing a letter to Mrs. Lori Woodruff. Mrs. Lori Woodruff works. This is the first line the first line has the person who should open the letter. That's who it's addressed to. 815 Hembry Road. The second line has the building number and the street. So the building number of Hembry Springs is 815. The street it's on is Hembry Road. Then the last line has the city, the state, and the zip code because we're writing in the United States. There is the comma between the city and the state. Nowhere else on the envelope is there a comma. So that's what you need to remember. So let's look at this sentence. Please deliver to P. Sherman, 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney, Australia. If I'm writing that in an envelope, the first line is the person it's addressed to, P. Sherman. The second line is the building number and the street, 42 Wallaby Way. The last line contains the city and the country, because Australia is not in the United States. And there has to be a comma between Sydney and Australia, because that is between the city and the state. So on an envelope, the only place we've put the comma is after the city. Even if there was a zip code, there is no comma after the country. And there is Dory coming out to swim with you. On your practice questions, you're going to type the following addresses as if you were writing them on an envelope. When you type them, you are going to have 3 lines. After the first line, the person who the envelope is addressed to, hit the Enter key or the Return key, and it will go down to the next line. Then you type in your building number and your street. After that, you hit Enter again to do the city and the state or country. Remember, you only need 1 comma, and don't forget to put it in there. But when you type to hit Enter, go to the next line. If you need help, see a parent or a babysitter or an older brother or sister who knows the keyboard well, and they will show you how to hit Enter to go to the next line. Before you get started, I have a joke for you. What is a turkey's favorite dessert? Peach gobbler. Practice questions, do your homework, have a great night.